having like this crybaby mentality because what it is that a lot of the things that, and they've always gotten on me about this. They're like, oh, that's not what it's about. But like, for example, MGTOW, where it stands for men going their own way. And they're like, oh, we're not getting married. We're not living with one. We're not doing this. And then you have some guys who are like, yeah, I still hook up with girls, but I'm not going to do that. But a lot of it stems from, it's like a response to being in situations with women that they didn't like what happened, meaning like, oh, this woman I was with, she divorced me, she fucked me over, you know, she got me for child support, or I was with this one girl and she cheated on me, and, you know, like all these different things that they felt that they were wronged by from women, right? So now my thing is that, you know, when I teach, I talk about masculinity and being responsible. So what I say is, if something happened with me and a woman and I didn't like it, like let's say she did something, like let's say she stole my money, or she like, you know, cheated on me with some other dude, or what, anything. I always look at it like I take full responsibility for everything. And so what happens is that I'm not blaming her. I'm just learning from the experience and do better next time. You understand what I'm saying? Instead of saying, you know what, I swear off of women because women are like this. And I'm like, this is how women will do these things. And then there's also women who won't do those things. There's women, like you said, we were talking about like teaching. A lot of times what happens is the reason why these guys are in these situations with women is because they didn't have enough game to be able to sift through certain women, to vet certain women, to make sure certain women were the type of women they should have been with versus women they shouldn't have been with. Because a lot of guys, truth be told, they ignore red flags because they want vagina, because they want to have sex. They're like, I'm gonna ignore that she's disrespecting me. Oh yeah, she's acting kind of funny, she's acting weird, them out, whatever. And then when stuff hits the fan, then they want to blame the woman. But I'm like, you saw that she was like that from day one, but you just ignored it because you were so desperate for sex. So again, that whose fault is that? That was your fault for not seeing it. And even if you didn't know, it's still your fault for not knowing. But now that you do know, then just do better. So my thing is that all these things are just a response to, like behaviors or circumstances that men didn't like. Because there was no MGTOW like freaking 10 or 15 years ago. This just started to come out after like the pickup artist and everything came out and all this other stuff. And men were trying to do these things. And then when women were sort of playing the game back to them, then, or women were gaming them in their own way, then it's like, this sort of like energy that came out. So I like the whole, I can get with the aspect of men sort of explaining like certain things women will do, which they would quote unquote call female nature. But I don't like the whole thing of like a man not taking responsibility for his part in the situation and just learning from that and then moving on, instead of like being so caught up in worrying about like what women are doing, because women are going to do what they're going to do regardless. Like nothing you say or do is going to stop women from being how they've been being since the beginning of time. They're just going to be how they are. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, it just what it is,
Yeah, not much changed in that respect. I had my experiences with MGTOW, and what I found is that there's a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. A lot of these guys are just shouldering tremendous pain, and they're not letting go of it.
Right.
That's a big thing. They're just holding on to the pain. And then you get a bunch of guys getting together, circling about their pain, just kind of mixing up this big churning pot of soup. And it's like, almost like they're addicted to it in a sense, because I got in there, I understood the aspect of it, right? And I understood that there's an element of brotherhood, right? Of just kinship, of shared experience, of guys saying, oh, I had this experience, I had this experience. They bounce ideas of each other, but there was no growth out of it.
Right.
And I'm like, after a while, and I'm just like, well, I don't need this anymore. Like, I get what you're after. I understand it. Cool. But I'm going to go my own way.
Right, exactly. Ironically, I'm going to go my own way from
So I left it. And a lot of those guys stuck around. And I also noticed that there's I guess you call them moguls within those spheres that profit off of pain.
Oh yeah, definitely.
and they want to keep people in these pain states.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because if they let them out and they showed them how to heal and how to get past these problems, then they wouldn't be needed anymore. Their
Right.
voice wouldn't be so important. Saying like, oh, fuck these women and so on.
Right.
And because, truth be told, I was in a place of deep pain and I wanted to be like, fuck women and all this stuff. But then as I was healing, I said, you know what? No, I did like, no, fuck women. I want to fuck women. I actually like women.
Right.
They feel good. They smell good. They look good. And they can be fun to spend time with. Why would I want to remove that from my life?
Right. Right.
And it doesn't make any sense.
And it's like every guy knows that women aren't perfect. You know what I'm saying? We're not perfect either. Like everybody, like every guy that deals with women knows there's going to be times where you're in a situation and the girl that you're with, she's annoying you, or this girl that you're with did something that you didn't like. And it was just like, that's just part of the whole thing. So it's like, I felt like, that type of stuff was kind of just like running away from the situation. Like, oh, I'm taking my ball and go home and I don't want to speak. You know what I mean? It's like, it's like, at the end of the day, you being a heterosexual man who you like women, you're going to want to deal with women at some point. So after you're in the corner, you're going to be like, okay, I gotta figure out these women again anyway, because I'm going to go right back to it. Like, I don't think that any type of guy who is honest with himself is going to say that they don't actually want to deal with women. And there were certain guys who I knew that were MGTOW that said, oh yeah, well, we're not swearing all off of women. I still deal with women and everything like that. But again, it was still the mindset of it that was giving them a tough time regardless. You know what I'm saying? So it's like letting go of it's like, I always tell guys, you got to let go of all of that type of energy, that crap, because you'll never actually really enjoy being with a woman, because in order for you to really have a good relationship with a woman, you have to make sure that you're a man who's focused and who has a certain mindset to be able to manage and maintain the situation with a woman. Because truth be told, a lot of the situations that these guys will get and complain about stems from mismanagement of the relationship in the first place. So I hear a lot of guys, they'll say, oh, well, don't get married or don't do this or don't do that because women are going to do this. And I say, okay, well, what you don't understand about that is that when you are one-on-one with an individual woman and the woman that you're dealing with, you can choose the type of woman that you're dealing with to make sure that the type of woman you're actually in a relationship with, or a long-term relationship with, or even a woman you have kids with, that she is a woman, even though she's still a woman and she has that women tendencies like every other woman. You can say, okay, this woman I'm with is actually rational. You understand? She's not crazy. She's not like all over the place. I can have a conversation with her and she listens to what I say. You see what I mean? And so when you're able to do that, right, and you're able to have that type of relationship with her, right, then you won't necessarily have to worry about that. Because I remember there's a YouTuber named Mr. Limba channel, and he said something so profound that I was like, yo, this right here is everything. He said women listen to either one or two things, society or their man, right? And he was like, a lot of times what happens is that you might have a woman you're with and she's listening to society, which is why she doesn't listen to you. And so therefore, that's why you lose your woman in these situations, because she doesn't respect you as her leader. She respects society as her leader. So this is why you get fucked over, because society is telling her to do all of those things she's doing to you versus you having more influence over your woman than society does. You see what I'm saying? And that's the issue where a lot of these red pill guys and some of the like MGTOW guys, society had more influence over their woman than they did. So which is why when it came time to deal with stuff like, let's say, divorce or child support or whatever, that's why they get ran through the ringer, because the woman didn't have respect for her man in the first place. Like I have friends who they've been through divorce, they pay child support or whatever, but they actually have a good relationship with the baby mother, and it's no drama. It's like they're super cordial, everything is cool, everything is chilled. They just broke up for whatever reason, like the relationship didn't work out, but there's still respect on both sides. And so that's what I try to tell guys is you gotta get to that point where you can have that, but you can't have that if you have all that animosity and anger and frustration towards, you know what I'm saying, something that happened to you in the past with some lady. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yep. That's actually my situation. Everything is fucking cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because like I cleaned up my backyard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she cleaned up her backyard.
Right.
Right. And I wasn't like bitching and you gotta do that. No.
Right.
I was saying that to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Say, you gotta clean up that mess in your backyard. Right.
Right.
You gotta have that self-respect first, and then the respect comes around.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to simplify what you were saying and paraphrasing what that other YouTuber was talking about is that she's just not that into you.
Right. Exactly.
It's that simple.
Back